Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Arna Sahu, host of Arna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today, on episode 28.
It's not one bit easy to connect the dots, connect the states, connect the schools. It was not one bit easy, but yet there should be somebody who can take that initiative, for the country, for the youth of the country. So I thought I should do that. And grace of God, I've been able to do that. Today, I can see 750 happy faces. And not only that, these girls have become role models for the other girls in the country. So it doesn't stop here. Now to the world. So I'm very, very sure, the percentile that we are sitting on between 40 and 46% of women in STEM is definitely going to be on the rise by the next 5 years.
Today, on episode 28, I am pleased to announce our guest, Dr. Srimathy Kesan. A true changemaker she is, Dr. Srimathy founded and created Space Kidz India, an organization that creates scientists for the country as young as possible and brings space closer and accessible to the youth of India. This organization is the one and only in the world to have successfully launched 18 balloon satellites, 2 suborbital satellites, and 3 orbital satellites, all built by students. It's an Indian aerospace startup pioneering in design, fabrication, and launch of small satellites, spacecrafts, and ground systems. As fascinating as it is, her most recent talks were on Indian Idol as well. Awarded the ambassador status to the NASA space camps at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and honored the ambassador status to the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Moscow, she has motivated well over 3,500 students and counting around India. A true pioneer and changemaker in the world of STEM and science, Dr. Srimathy Kesan is a proud guest of Arna's News. So thank you so much, Dr. Srimathy, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I think you've given me a long introduction, Arna. That was so cute. Well, I think from the time we spoke and today, we're already having one other suborbital launch and another orbital. So it's 3 suborbital and 4 orbital launches. And exactly last Friday, we launched our satellite with about 750 girls. First ever time in the world that we were getting together, 750 rural children. And, they built payloads for the 75 payloads because this is our 75th year of independence. Of course, it's the last year. And, so that's the reason we built this. So let's go. Thank you so
exciting.
Much for the invitation. I'm so happy to be talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be talking to you as well. You're like my next role model.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So my first question for you is, tell us a bit about your career path.
Okay. It all started 2010, 2009. 2009, a friend of mine, she had given me an opportunity to come to Miami, Florida, for a travel conference. Before that, to tell you a little about my personal journey, So I hail from the city called Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh in India. And I was an all-rounder at school and college. I played about 10 basketball nationals. I was a state athlete. And I was an NCC cadet, a senior under officer who went to Delhi Republic Day as the best cadet of Andhra Pradesh, a paratrooper, All India silver medalist firing, and the first cadet to hold a sword and lead the parade. So this was my accolades that I'd collected over the years, and it was end of second year of graduation when I marched, carrying a sword in my hand. The same day, the guest who had come, he was an ex-army general, and he called my dad and said, "My God, we're so proud of your daughter. What an accomplishment. We need such girls in the armed forces." So he gave an open invitation stating that once she completes her graduation, we'll be very happy to induct her in the armed forces. And my dad was super thrilled about it. But then destiny, you know, he pulled out the wedding invitation of mine. So he handed over my wedding invitation to the general. The same day, we were leaving to Chennai in Tamil Nadu for my wedding. And the general was furious. He said, "What are you doing with your daughter?" All the officers assembled there was, everybody were furious. But then that's life. So, so got to move on. So from sword, I actually jumped to spatula. My TED Talks, that's how it is. From sword, I jumped to spatula. And I was a homemaker for almost 16 years. A
Whoa.
complete homemaker for 16 years. And there was a first time when my friend came, she pulled me out of, my comfort zone, I should say. And she said, "Come on, get going." She kicked me one on my butt and she said, "Come on, girl, you spoke so much that you wanted to do so much for the country. You wanted to be an army general. You wanted to do so many things, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I agree that you got married and everything, but now you're getting to do something." So that was a push. And from there, no looking back, I came to Miami. I saw the booth of, NASA. I was so fascinated. I was in tears. I was so overwhelmed. I spoke to the Coast directors, and they supported and encouraged me. And they said, "Yes, you can bring children for the space camps from India to Florida." That opened up the gateways. And that's how Space Kidz was born. And, long story short, I was able to take about 3,500 children to NASA, to the Russian Space Center, and ESA also. But, continuously traveling to all these research centers, one thing got me really fascinated is satellites and rockets. I said, I think it's high time that we just came here and learned about it, have seen that, spoken to the astronauts and everything. I think we got to do something in action now. So that's where in 2015 got to start building the satellites. So with a small team of young kids, I thought of course, it's very, very difficult in India to do all this. You need a lot of permissions to go through because we do not have any precedents before. Nobody has set a precedence before. So it was very, very difficult for me to go past everything and do something totally new, totally new. And so that's where it was I thought that it should be more of the younger generation because they are the future. Why not we try in building payloads with younger children? I understand that ISRO was not going to give us space in the rocket if it is children so young, but then let's convince them. Something inside kept telling me it's okay, Mati, you can convince them. So that's how we convinced. And today we have 4 orbital satellites. So the journey has been beautiful. Started off with a high altitude balloon in 2015. And today, as you mentioned, we have 18 high altitude balloons, that's the balloon sats, and 3 suborbital missions and 4 orbital missions.
That is so amazing. I love how you, although you had a lull in your life, your friend pulled you and you got right back in. So proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And my next question for you is, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? Do you have any tips to succeed?
See, generally, I'm a person who hates giving advices because I always feel that each person is unique. Each individual is born for a purpose. We can stand behind them, we can support them, we can help them, navigate them, guide them, do all this. But advice, no. But I would love to say that, though the journey is very, very difficult, it's very hard. I'm the only woman in this industry here in India. So it's very, very difficult to stand in that position. But yet, it's such a beautiful industry. It's an industry of dreams. So fascination when you look up to the sky. So I think I want more girls. And that's the reason we built this Azadi Sat with 750 girls. We wanted to give them wings. I wanted to tell them there is another industry which is very beautiful, because back home in India, if you see, people only talk about medicine and engineering, predominantly. That's the two professions that they are really attached to or fascinated with. But I want to break that myth, and I want to move girls into the STEM and more girls into space, core space, because they're so good with multitasking. And I would really appreciate if there are, at least 10% of the girls from 750 get into space industry.
That's so exciting. You know, I used to like stay in India, and I definitely know how predominant it was for medicine and engineering, but I'm so proud that you are trying to break that myth of wanting to have more girls to go into aerospace engineering. That's so exciting.
Thank you, Arna.
And what is a common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
Yes, this is what. In fact, I told you before you even asked, I guess. See, the whole myth is people think STEM or anything to do with core engineering is a man's world. So I want to break that. I want to break that. Oh, this is heavy. You can't carry this. Oh, it's difficult. You cannot calculate this. Oh my God, come on, come on. Gone are those days. Please give us an opportunity and we will prove. That's where I wanted these girls to prove to the world. If I'm going to do this in India, I'm very, very sure there are going to be a lot of other women who are going to take initiatives to pull their children from the rural areas, give them this platform, give them this opportunity, teach them, create an awareness, and create a career path for them. So that's the reason I wanted this as a role, a path breaking initiative. So it was a humongous task to do this, because India is so huge and vast. It's not one bit easy to connect the dots, connect the states, connect the schools. It was not one bit easy, but yet there should be somebody who can take that initiative, for the country, for the youth of the country. So I thought I should do that. And grace of God, I've been able to do that today. I can see 750 happy faces. And not only that, these girls have become role models for the other girls in the country. So it doesn't stop here. Now to the world. So I'm very, very sure, the percentile that we are sitting on between 40 and 46% of women in STEM is definitely going to be on the rise by the next 5 years.
Yes, I think so too. I definitely agreed when you said, oh, men should do all the heavy lifting or they should do the problem solving. I hate it when people say that, because what are we, like, just invisible? Because we can do that too. And so that's basically one of the main reasons why I created this channel. And I'm so happy you brought it up. So, yeah.
Kudos to you. You're doing an incredible job. I did watch your interviews and everything. So much of confidence. Oh my God, a little child. I would call you a little child, and doing such wonderful things is amazing. Salute to you, I was so scared, at your punctuality and everything. I was scared. I said, oh my God, I gotta be on time. She's so punctual.
Oh, you're making me blush.
But that's the truth. That's the truth. I was so happy, and I'm really proud of you that you're doing something like this at this age. And I'm very sure you're going to be rocking, in the coming years. Well, what happened to Katherine Johnson? She was the one who did the map for the Apollo missions and everything, but yet people don't recognize her. People don't give that. How many women went into space? It's only about 14% of women who went into space. Why? There is always that, women, you got to be behind us. And I'm really waiting to, I fight. Come on, you children can do it. You're smart. This younger generation is absolutely smart. I love them. So I'm just waiting to see how many of them will turn space scientists and do good in STEM.
Yes, that is the goal. And if you could step into my shoes or your younger self, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
See, I am extremely a positive person, and see, if I'm going to be thinking of all that, it's very difficult to move forward. So introspection is very important. Yes, I sit and do introspections, and when I'm there in most of their shoes, and I keep thinking, oh, probably I should see from the other side. But if I keep pondering over that, then I lose myself. So I seldom do that, and I just sit down calm and introspect myself, go through the project, and then see if there is any loopholes. Then I need to seal those loopholes and then work and move on.
I see. It's like, I think the introspection is a big key because I'm also a positive person. But before I have a little story. Before quarantine, I'm pretty sure I was like a different person because I was living life really sadly. Like I didn't really have a purpose in life. And then after quarantine, I did a bit of introspection as well. And then I kind of figured out who I was. And so I feel like I lived two lives. So
That's beautiful. You know what? The more the people ask, why was I born? I always ask this question for the 16 years of sabbatical, 16 years of time that I was at home. Every day I would throw this question to the universe and ask the moon. My favorite thing in the world is moon. And I keep asking the moon, why was I born? Please tell me. I want to come to you. I want to come to you. You just throw those, whatever you want to the universe. And I think someday it's going to answer you back. And that's how this came. So most people, when they ask me, how did you choose space? I would say, I didn't choose space. Space chose me. That's the right thing, because I kept throwing it to the universe. I kept asking, why was I born? So I think, every individual, or the individuals who ask this question, will definitely do something big. And there is an answer for all these things. I don't know, in size, shape, and quantum, what does big mean, but it is big. That's all I would love to say. And in fact, Arna, you know what? I was in the ICCU year last, affected with COVID and on ventilator. And, so I gave the proposal of Azadi Sat from the hospital, from the ICCU with the ventilator, with the positive attitude that I will come out of the ventilator and I'm definitely going to work on this project. And that time also, I was thinking within myself, what happened? Why is this rest being given to me? I just took that as a rest. For all the running around and everything, that was a rest period for me. And that's the reason I was there, so critical in the hospital, and yet smiling and taking selfies with the, nurses there. They were like, oh my God, what a person you are. You are with the mask and everything, and you still take selfies. But I think that's what is life. Until and unless we go positive that way, it's very, 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 very harsh. And the industry that is given to me, I think is a very critical and a very harsh industry. So we definitely need to be very positive.
Yeah, because if you dwell on things that are pretty miserable, then your life is going to be kind of miserable. But if you try to like look at life with a different perspective, then your life is actually going to be happy.
Absolutely. I do agree. 100%.
Yes. And what are the best resources / books that have helped you find your career path?
Very honestly speaking, I'm not a book person, Nara. I'm not a book person because I'm a very fidgety person. I'm a very, very fidgety person. So, if I read the first page of a book, then I go directly to the last page to see how it's ended. So for me, my children, I'm not from the space or science background. I'm a commerce background person. So that's the reason when I couldn't be a scientist, I thought, why not create scientists? So on the go, I started learning the jargons. I started learning everything from Google, from the children, my team. They would teach me, every bit of the sensors and, how they kind of integrate the satellite. What is the frequency they use for the satellite? So all these things I learned from the children and from Google, I should say. So it's all the research papers. So whatever NASA publishes or ESA publishes, I kind of go and read those research papers to understand what are the different types of satellites and what are the different types of sensors that we use and everything. So that's how my learning has been.
That's so cool. You actually learn from the students. That's
Yeah.
insane. And you also take the time to look at the research papers of NASA. That is insane. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And what do you think is the vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
Well, I would say, my life mantra has always been one thing, all through my life. I've learned it as a child that failures are stepping stones. So never deter, never be scared of failure. And always confident. Stay positive and confident. Definitely the universe will conspire and you will achieve your goal. It all started from being a class leader that I wanted to be, then the school leader that I wanted to be. Every little step that, I kind of conspired it in my mind and, focused so much that I threw it to the universe and universe gave it back to me. So the strong faith, absolutely. And beyond everything, the faith on God Almighty. That is my punching bag. That's my punching bag. I sit, I pray, I throw everything, and I get my answers. So being positive, being confident, and the attitude that we are going to succeed until the nth minute, I don't give up.
Yes, listeners, listen, being positive, staying confident, and being determined until you end it off is what you should have. I think that's really important because being confident also means that you radiate positivity, and the determination to not wanting to stop until you actually finish your goal is also something that a lot of people forget about. So I think that's really important that you shed light on.
People call me a beast because I don't sleep, I don't eat, I don't, literally, I don't breathe also until I complete the task that I've embarked on. So that's why most people call me a beast. Oh, she's a beast. Please let her finish her mission and we will talk to her later.
That's funny. And my next question for you, since we have additional time, is what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career path?
Um, I sometimes feel that, maybe I should learn more of engineering. I'm able to intuitively and practically, with common sense, I'm able to interact with my students and my team, and give them some suggestions and everything. But you don't know the jargons, the engineering jargons and everything. That puts me that kind of puts me off sometimes, and I feel low. But then I pull up and I said, at least through common sense, I'm able to say something like this. Oh, come on, buck up, Srimathy. So that way it is.
Yeah, I think that the mindset of being positive is also something that you always have, because although you don't know like the key concepts of engineering, you still took it and you're still willing to learn, and that's also something so impressive.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And coming from a child, I mean, I feel really very happy.
Thank you. And how do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
Oh, well, see, business acumen is something that you have to learn, while traveling in that journey. Okay. And as I mentioned, it's not easy after 16 years of being there at home to jump into business and do something, and especially this crazy business of space. So we're predominantly into the R&D first, and then, but one thing I always tell people is, even though you're a homemaker, Masters of Business Administration comes to you if you're a good homemaker, because you learn to do so many things. You juggle for different roles at home. And that, I think, without a certification, gives you your master's degree. And I think that's puts me in this role of doing a good business. And, I'm able to move forward. And as mentioned before, to be just the only woman in the space industry who's done, who's accomplished all these things with a small team.
That's so exciting. Although a lot of people may have said that you didn't really have qualifications, you yourself knew. So it's that self-confidence that came out, and you decided to strive for what you wanted to do and make a change in the world.
Definitely, if you have the attitude to say that, I want to make a change in the world, I think you'll definitely do that someday. For
Yeah.
sure. I'm pretty confident on that.
And it's also this one saying that if you say something over and over and over again, and that thing will actually happen. So it's like calling out to you. I feel like that's what happened to you when you were asking the moon, why did you what's my purpose? And then
Yeah,
space called out to you. So that's really cool.
you're dot. You're there. Absolutely. That's the truth. That's the truth. Because I kept asking. And today, what I am is the answer for that.
Yeah. Space basically called.
I'm surprised, sometimes when I sleep and wake up, I'm like, oh my God, you are doing something different, especially this Azadi Sat. I mean, it's a beautiful journey, it's the emotions of 750 girls. And I think there was a big transformation in myself when I got to learn each child's difficulties, the problems that they are facing, and yet they wanted to, do something when a platform was given to them. So that was amazing. So, what are we cribbing for? When these children are working so hard to do something different and create that difference in this world, I think we should be doing that much more. So I said, yes, let's do that.
And you went in with a positive mindset and you were able to do it.
Yes.
And my last question for you is, do you have any quotes or mottos that you love to follow and would like to share?
Well, no pain, no gain is my only mantra in life. I always, whenever, there are setbacks, and whenever there are hurts and, backstabs and so many things, all the negatives, rather, let me just put it that way, all the negatives that I have to face, then I say, okay, probably there is something big that is coming up. So that's the reason, my path is full of thorns now. Let me walk on that. I may bleed, I may have to go to the ICU, but yet I will succeed. So that is the whole thing. I read about all the senior personalities, a lot of personalities who succeeded in their lives. I read about them. Each one has got a beautiful path, beautiful journey. So I love to read that. But individually, if you ask me, everybody's purpose of life is different, the journey is different. We got to pen our own journey, we got to pen our own path, right? So if we are able to do that successfully, I think taking a human form itself is a bliss, and it's the best thing in the world that can happen to anybody.
Aw, so sweet. Because when you were in like the COVID ICU, is that what it's called? Um I, I'm not sure what it's called, but when you had COVID and you were in the ventilator,
Yes.
although you were like pretty much suffering, you still decided to look forward. It's like that one saying that when for bad things happen, you have a good face on. So yeah, I think that really embodies you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And before we end off, would you like to say any last words to the audience?
Well, I would love to say, I think your audience are of different age groups. So I think a big shout out to Ara. I would love to give her a big round of applause for doing such a wonderful job, especially a girl child doing something at this young age. I mean, I am so, so thrilled and happy. God bless you, my dear. And to the listeners, stay positive. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. Every day when you wake up, look at the mirror, smile at yourself, and say, good job, you're alive. So you can do anything and you can achieve anything on earth.
Thank you so much. And you're literally my role model, so thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much for having me in your show. I am so thankful to you. God bless you.
Dr. Srimathy Kesan's journey from being a national student athlete to an award-winning space entrepreneur is truly an inspiring one. She broke down barriers and myths about the space industry being a man's world and worked tirelessly to create opportunities for young girls in India to pursue their dreams in the space industry. We hope that her story has inspired you to pursue your passions and never give up on your dreams, no matter how challenging they may seem. Thus, that concludes episode 28. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you are listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Tito, you're listening to Arna Sahu, the host of Arna Stews. Toodles!